Welcome back into another PGA DFS video. My name is Eric Paulzine. I'm going to give you guys the picks for the Genesis Invitational here in 2021. This is a pretty exciting field as a whole, pretty loaded. It's going to be pretty much the best field that we've gotten so far this year. So I don't know, that kind of always gets me excited. Just a quick recap of last week. Pretty fantastic week overall. A lot of members of 9 to 5 Nation had a solid week. So if you guys want to join, $10 a month, best value in PGA DFS out there. Link is in the description below. But just kind of going over what we should expect for this tournament. It is one where, we do see course history matter a little bit more. It is a little bit more difficult of a course as well, as we saw on Sunday's video. Once again, if you guys want to get a more in-depth preview of kind of what to expect for this tournament, check out the course history video, but let's get into it, guys. All right, so if we're just looking at kind of which players have had the best recent form, we can just pull that up. Now, Dustin Johnson should be number one here, but I just like to look at the last 6 weeks or so, last 6 tournaments. So, for instance, Dustin Johnson hasn't really played recently, so that's kind of what's affecting it. But we look at Xander Schauffele, second, and 5th place finish. Guy has been a stud recently. Patrick Cantlay as well, 3rd last week, which he was a core play last week. Really, the only core play that we could have been on last week was Patrick Cantlay. He was the only player checking all the boxes, which, obviously he played fantastic. 2nd, and then a 13th place finish most recently. Bryson, his most recent start was the STOC there with a 7th place finish. Collin Morikawa surprisingly popping up here, 2 straight 7th place finishes, but that was about a month and a half ago now with the Sony Open and the STOC. Joaquin Niemann, man, if only he had won those 2 tournaments, the Sony Open and the STOC. 9 to 5's outright betting card would be fantastic, although we did hit Daniel Berger last week. It was like 14 or 15 to 1. He was one of the top plays on the board, and that just kind of goes to show you guys kind of the theme of 2021. It's that Brooks Koepka won 2 weeks ago when he was in horrible, recent form. Wasn't exactly the best at fit, but Brooks Koepka is a little bit different just because, we kind of know who he is as a player. But don't be afraid to target these players that can, bounce back, that do have that winning upside, which is something that we just might have to factor into this season as a whole. But Niemann, I really like. Jon Rahm, 13th, 7th, and 7th place finish. Justin Thomas, 13th, 3rd, 12th place finish. DJ, just at 11th at the STOC. Tony Finau, 2nd, 4th, 31st, and 8th place finish. And then Victor Hovland and Abraham Ancer both rounding out the top 10. 2nd, 31st, and Hovland had the 1st place finish. And then Ancer, 5th, 17th, and 12th place finish. So lots of guys in great recent form. And that's kind of going to be the theme here, where kind of last week we were struggling, kind of pulling teeth to try to find the best plays, which is why it was really strange that it was the most easy week to predict as a whole. So that's not going to continue going forward. I mean, normally when you have a bad week on paper, it's not going to be that good of a week, but this one's looking like it's going to be a great week on paper, where it's going to be very easy to predict. So, we just kind of got to factor that in. But looking at course history here, we tend to see players that have good course history here continue that in the current year. So like Dustin Johnson, phenomenal course history, 10th, 9th, 16th, and 1st place finish. Rory, 5th, 4th, 20th. Patrick Cantlay, 17th, 15th, and 4th. You're kind of seeing a common theme here where we don't really get a player or a golfer with one start popping up here, because it kind of takes you at least one or so starts at this tournament to kind of get used to it. Jon Rahm, 17th and 9th place finish. Vaughn Taylor, 13th, 9th, and 20th. Taylor Gooch, 10th and 20th place. Xander, 23rd, 15th, and 9th. Wyndham Clark, he's the only person on this list where he has one start, and that was the 17th last year. We look at Carlos Ortiz, 26th and 9th. And then we look at Adam Scott, 1st, 7th, 53rd, and 11th. And that just goes to show you, once again, how strong one course history is, that Adam Scott, with 3 top 11 finishes and really just one bad start over the last 4 years, ranks 10th. So lots of strong course history here. I'm not using that as a key stat this week, but if you want to use course history as like a key indicator, definitely go ahead and do that. I'm going to be doing that this week. That's definitely going to be something that I'm looking at, maybe to decide 50-50 decisions. Now let's get into the key stats for this week. So I did touch on it on the video yesterday, the Sunday video. It's that We know that stroke gain approach is actually going to be a huge stat that we want to look at, as well as ball striking. Those are kind of the two key stats that you want to go off of. With the tournament playing a little bit harder, I also am going to be looking at bogey avoidance in terms of, I like to look at that in terms of players making the cut. And I also like to look at stroke gain differential on the field as well. Those two kind of, to me, are a great indicator of who's going to make the cut. And I think using those stats are kind of why we had a solid week last week. I also am going to be looking at opportunities gain as like a secondary stat. And then, driving distance over driving accuracy as well. We saw that be a significant factor. And just over the last 3 years, that has been something that I've been able to use at this tournament is driving distance, which I hate to use driving distance as a key stat. But last year, that led us to be on Adam Scott as a core play, as a betting card play, and that worked out. So, we're kind of just going to go back to the well there. But players that are a top 10 stat rank play this week are Dustin Johnson. I mean, the guy in like the 5 key stats I'm looking at specifically, his lowest rank is 8. So he's dominating. Russell Henley as well, kind of popping up there. 25th in ball striking, and that's his lowest stat. Everything else is top 25. Joaquin Neiman as well. 30th in stroke gain approach. That's his lowest stat. Every other one is top 11. Bryson DeChambeau really just been a stud this year so far. And then John Rahm kind of for the top 5. Obviously, we'll get into this a little bit more, but he's dominating stat fit wise as well. So let's get into the picks for the Genesis Open. Sorry, had to think about it there real quick. All right, let's get into it, guys. All right, guys, so getting to the picks for the Genesis Open here. Just going to sort it by the high tier once again. So $9K to whoever the top prize player is, which is Dustin Johnson this week at a graceful 11.3. Last week he was $12K. Obviously he withdrew last week. It just didn't seem like he wanted to play, so I don't think we have to worry about that too much. Once again, the top dog this week is just the elite play. That's been the case of 2021, really this whole year. I think the worst finish so far for the top play was John Rahm, who finished like 13th that week, which obviously we'll take. That's not bad at all. Last week, the top play on the board was Dustin Johnson, and then by default, once he withdrew, it was Patrick Cantlay. Patrick Cantlay was the only one last week that was projected to have a cut likelihood of over 90%. We see that once again with Dustin Johnson this week at 98%. Just real no reason to fade Dustin Johnson this week. We'll pull this down. 10th, 9th, 16th, just overall, looking at the cheat sheet, in even his recent form, the only thing that's like high is opportunities gained, where he ranks 15th, and then his 2016 finish, or 2018 finish, where he finished 16th. So Dustin Johnson, really just an elite play. Compared to the rest of the people in the field, it's not even comparable, honestly. He's just checking all the boxes. There's really no reason to go ahead and fade him. After that, I actually really do like John Rahm as a play as well. If you want to call him a poor man's version of Dustin Johnson, you could. 17th tier, 9th tier, strong recent form. Good stat fit as well. His lowest stat that we're looking at is 26 in driving distance. Now, we know that could be a little bit different here. We know that John Rahm can go long when he wants to. I would probably say he's more closer to like top 15 on tour there. Obviously, different events and different courses require different shots. So I'm guessing he pulled a couple of 3-woods a little bit here and there as compared to some other players who didn't have to do that. But John Rahm, top 5 stat fit, second in the model. Once again, his lowest stat rank is 26 in driving distance. Everything else is better than that. Yeah, he's just checking all the boxes as well. There's no reason to fade him. Then we get into Xander Schauffele at 9.9 as well. Xander's going to be a great play for us. Recent form is off the charts, second, and fifth. Course history-wise, 23rd, 13th, and 9th place finish here, 15th place finish in 2019. Really great stat fit. The only thing that worries us is his opportunities gained, where he ranks 98th. Other than that, just spectacular. Second in stroke gain differential, 30th in ball striking, 26th in driving distance, birdie to bogey ratio, 8th. Bogey avoidance, 26th, and stroke gain approach, 13th. Overall, he's the 14th best stat rank play, which I think that really tells us a lot about this tournament as a whole, that we're getting this strong of a stat fit at 14th. Last week, this probably would have been top 10, maybe top 7. This week it's 14th. Ranks out 6th in the model. So, yeah, Xander Schauffele really popping for me. No real reason to fade him. And then Patrick Cantlay, I'm not really sure why they ranked him this low. To me, I see him as where he's ranked, where he's the third, ranked play this week. Fantasy projected points 116, cut likelihood 87%. And, he's just been on fire, guys. Third, second, and 13th place finish over the last 6 weeks. Tournament history 17th, 15th, and 4th. Staff it wise, top 10, 5th in stroke gain differential, ball striking 27th, 5th in driving distance. Okay. The only worry is that he's 54th in stroke gain approach and 43rd in opportunities gain. But, bogey avoidance and birdie to bogey ratio, both top 5 in that. Points to Patrick Cantley being a pretty safe play as a whole. You could easily go ahead and play him. I feel pretty confident of that. This could be kind of a starting point for your lineups. Colin Morikawa, Daniel Berger, I like those plays as well. This field is absolutely loaded, so I don't really want to touch on all the plays. After that, I actually don't mind Adam Scott here. Recent form could be a little bit better, but he's coming off that 10th place finish at the Farmers. He hasn't played poorly. Adam Scott's a guy that's always going to figure it out here. He's the defending champ. For 9K for him, I don't mind him. Could be a little bit better play. It's more of a risky play here. Hideki, Jordan. Honestly, I expect all these guys to make the cut, maybe except for Brooks. I could actually see Scott missing the cut. I could see Jordan missing the cut. But overall, these guys are really all just strong plays. There's no real mispriced plays here. These plays all make sense. So it's really just going to be finding your anchors, and I think I've done that. Cantley, I feel good about. John Rahm, I feel good about. Xander and DJ. You just kind of got to go off of which players you think are the most likely to succeed in that price point range, and that's what I'm doing this week. All right, so getting into the mid-tier now, the 8K to 8.9K price point range. There we go. So Bubba Watson, what is going on with Bubba Watson's salary recently? He's been really juiced up for reasons that he really shouldn't be. People just like to bet Bubba, I guess. I can't do it. I'm not going to do it this week. Don't really see the point, but I really like Joaquin Niemann here, guys. Joaquin Niemann has been in great recent form. Once again, he was a guy that almost won 2 weeks in a row. He's a guy that I want to highlight here for you guys as well. So let's pull up that. All right, so I got him pulled up here. As you guys can see, Joaquin Niemann, really just a spectacular play across the board. Stat rank 3rd in that, mile rank 15th in that. He has a cut likelihood of around 80%, okay? Projected to score 105 fantasy points. Now, the only worry with Joaquin Niemann as a play is his course history here. Miscut last year, and then a 40th place finish there as well. But once again, I touched on this already. We do want to see a player that at least has course history here or tournament history. So, it's a bad thing that he's coming off a miscut and doesn't really have a great finish here so far, but it also is a good thing that he's been at least familiar with this tournament. So that does help a little bit. Obviously, he's in strong recent form. Really tough for me not to play him. Elite stat fit. Let's just look at it real quick. So stat-wise, 7th in stroke gain differential, 2nd in ball striking, 11th in driving distance, 9th in opportunities gained, 4th in birdie to bogey ratio, 11th in bogey avoidance, and 30th in strokes gained approach. He rates out as the 3rd best stat rank play and 15th in the model. Obviously, he's getting knocked for that tournament history there. Other than that, this guy has been electric. I see no real reason that we should kind of go out of our way to fade him. He's going to be a strong play for us this week. Not a core play, just wanted to highlight him. Going to start doing that. Still going to do the core plays tomorrow. And then after that, Victor Hovland, once again, we do really want to look at, course history here. He doesn't have that, but other than that, pretty strong play overall. Don't mind him. A little bit, feel like we're paying up a little bit for him. In terms of driving distance, I would expect Scotty Scheffler's numbers to be a little bit higher. It's a little bit surprising to me that they're not. He had a 30th place finish here last year. He's been really hit or miss this season, but I could easily see him hitting and having a top 10 finish. Will Zalatoris, he's probably going to get a little bit of chatter here. Man, if he had just missed the cut last week, I wanted a little bit more carnage, and carnage would have meant him missing the cut. Would have meant for a much better week overall, because there would have been instead of what I forget what it was, 20% of Linus was 6 for 6, it probably would have been 12. That's how high owned he was, but for a good reason. He's been a strong staff at really this whole year. Been quality play so far this whole year. 22nd stat rank play. I don't mind him, but really, I think we got to focus on Max Homa here, guys. Guy has been great recently, and I've touched on this a few times now. His key stats keep getting better and better each week. He really struggled at the start of the season, which is why his stats aren't exactly there, but he's went from 120th stat rank play 3 weeks ago to 100th, and now he's 86th in the field. So it's getting better each and every week there. Decent course history, and it's been getting better each year. So in 2017, miscut, 2019, 37th, and then 2020, 5th place finish. So it has been getting better. That is what we want to see. Recent form-wise, 12th at the Macoba, 21st at the Amex, 18th at the Farmers, made the cut at the Waste Management Phoenix Open, didn't really have it going there, 42nd place finish. And then last week had that 7th place finish, had that strong Sunday push there. I think he was like the 3rd rated player last week, so it was nice to see him come through. And then I think people are going to try to get on like Matthew Wolff, Jason Kokrak. I don't mind that approach. It's just not as like likely. I mean, they're fine GPP plays, same as like Scotty Scheffler. But you guys know my approach. I'm aiming to get 6 for 6 across the cut line. The more times you do that, obviously, the more successful you're going to be, especially in the long term. All right, now we're going to move on into the low tier here. Low tier is pretty loaded. Where that mid tier, kind of felt a little bit risky there. It's kind of risk reward tier. This tier is just absolutely loaded. I think this is where we're going to build the base of our builds here. All right, guys, so now getting into the low tier here, I do want to just sort it real quick by cut likelihood, just to kind of show you guys the hills that we have here for this price point range. We have one player, Carlos Ortiz, at 72% chance to make the cut. I'll lead off with him, actually, because he is just going to be an elite play compared to the rest of the field here. So Carlos Ortiz, kind of the guy that's checking all the boxes this week. Honestly, I don't really get this price point. I'm a little bit mad that DraftKings hasn't priced at this price point, because we've kind of seen that when we have no reason to fade someone, they have missed the cut, which is kind of just a strange anomaly that has occurred in 2021, but really just a strong stat fit. Strong tournament history, strong recent form. There's no reason to fade him. Recent form, 4th at the Waste Management Phoenix Open, 29th at the Farmers, 14th at the Sony, 37th at the S2OC, and 8th at the Macoba. Stat fit wise, he's pretty strong everywhere. But where he's really strong is birdie to bogey ratio 12th and bogey avoidance 19th. That tells me he should be able to make the cut. Stroke gain differential 30th and ball striking 23rd. Really, the only stat that he lacks at is stroke gain approach 151st, which is why he's getting knocked down a little bit in stat rank to 26th in the field. Overall, though, model rank rise, he still ranks out as a top 10 play. Overall, Carlos Ortiz is checking all the boxes, and to me, I see no real reason that we should be fading him other than he's checking all the boxes. Other than we have no real reason to fade him. So you guys can do with that what you will. I really like him as a play this week. And then after that, though, projected cut wise, we have a decent amount of players in the 60% cut likelihood, some quality GPP plays, and then it does fall off there at the end with 1, 2, 3 players with less than a 50% chance to make the cut. So we'll sort here. Abraham Answer I do like as a play. He almost is checking all the boxes. If you would have at least a finish in the top 30 there, course history wise, he technically would be, because he is a top 30 stat fit play, but still not a bad play. Great recent form, strong course history, 3 straight make cuts. We'll take that. Where he's kind of getting knocked in the stat rank is his driving distance, 150th in that. Other than that, pretty decent. Top 30 in strokes gained differential, ball striking, birdie to bogey ratio, opportunities gained, 44th in bogey avoidance. So overall, Abraham Mans are going to be, a fine play at that price point range. Then Russell Henley as well. He'd be graded out as a little bit better play if he was a little bit more consistent recently. We saw it early on. He was playing elite, but he had that miscut at the Macoba, a top 11 at the Sony, a miscut at the AMX, but then he bounced back with the 30th at the Waste Management Phoenix Open. Strong course history here, 17th and 44th place finish. Overall, just a strong stat fit as well. Lacks in driving distance, but other than that, top 25 in every other stat that we're looking at. Heck, he's top 3 in opportunities gained, bogey avoidance, birdie to bogey ratio, and strokes gained approach. Overall, he's a top 6 stat rank play. Ranks out 35th in the model because of really that he's just getting knocked because of that recent form. Also a little bit, I guess, because of course history, because it's a strong field, guys, for course history wise. Course history wise, he ranks 22nd in the field, but honestly, with the 17th and 44th place finish, that's not bad at all. After that, we go down to Sergio Garcia. I'm good with Sergio as a play. Technically speaking, he is checking all the boxes here. Top 29 stat rank play, fine course history, 3 straight make cuts, 37th, 37th, and 49th place finish. Recent form wise, 47th place finish at the Sony. Not 11th at the S2OC. Honestly, he's going to be my shoulder shrug play of the week here because, if you add up on him, you kind of feel good about it. You're not going to think about it too much. After that, we get into one of our favorite plays from last week, Cameron Tringale here, guys. Guy has been ascending form, been getting better each week. He went from 56th, 18th, 7th, 17th to a 7th place finish last week. Overall, he has decent course history, 30th miscut and an 8th place finish. We'll take that kind of risky GPP upside, but he has been playing great golf. He's an elite stat fit this week. 20th in top 20, or top 25, in ball striking, strokes gained differential, bogey avoidance, birdie to bogey ratio, top 60 or better in everything else. So, yeah, we don't really have a reason to fade him at all. 63% chance to make the cut. I'm good with him as a play this week. Then I do want to pull up James Hahn here as well, kind of just to highlight him. Once again, he's not going to be a core play. Maybe we'll come out with that obviously tomorrow for you guys, but I do want to highlight him as a play because we see his course history. His course history here is elite. 13th, 14th, and 28th place finish, which ranks 11th in the field overall. Solid stat rank play as well. Could be a little bit better in strokes gained approach, where he ranks 107th, and driving distance, where he ranks 78th. Other than that, though, pretty solid. 11th in ball striking, top 10 in opportunities gained, 22nd in birdie to bogey ratio, and 17th in bogey avoidance. Recent form-wise has been a little bit hit or miss. We saw him really dominate in the fall swing. It's coming off of a miscut last week. Had a top 10 finish at the Waste Management Phoenix Open, miscut at the Farmers, and then 2 straight made cuts. So been a little bit hit or miss as a play recently, but overall I don't mind him. Just kind of want to highlight him because of his great course history and because of his strong stat, fit. Ranks out top 10 in the model because of all that. So overall, I think he's going to be a fine play, going to be worth kind of the GPP risk. After that, though, Corey Connors I'm fine with here. If you guys end up on him, you end up on him. Don't mind that. Henrik Norlander obviously has been playing some great golf in strong recent form. 4 straight T26 or better finishes. Hasn't had to start here in the last 4 years. Kind of my Henrik Norlander story is that, what was it, like 6 years ago maybe now at the John Deere Classic? It was the tournament that Jordan Spieth chipped in for eagle on 17th to pretty much lock in the win. I remember just being on the practice range for that tournament, and Henrik Norlander was there practicing. You could tell he just wasn't mentally in it. I don't know, he just didn't have that competitive spirit really going at all. I'm like, dude, you just made the cut. Like, let's go. You can see a different mentality with him now, just in his interviews on the golf course. You can see he's much more motivated to play well, and half the times that's half the battle with golfers. Great to see him playing well. Wouldn't surprise me if he goes out and does have a good finish here. Top 26 or so, maybe not that, but like a top 30 finish, I could definitely see that. Brian Harmon, Sam Burns, I'm fine with. Both guys that could easily go out and play well. Sam Burns, a top 12 stat fit, missed the cut in his first appearance here, and then had a top 23 finish in 2020. I think he's going to be a fine play. Charlie Hoffman, been a little bit interesting there because before he had to withdraw in like 2 straight events, he was playing great golf, and then he finally bounced back with the top 10 finish last week. Honestly, if he's healthy, he's going to be a quality play here, I think. He's had 2 missed cuts in a row here, 41st and a 4th place finish. Once again, at the start of the year, I kind of thought that Charlie Hoffman would have a resurgence year in his career. We're kind of seeing that, so honestly, I don't mind him as a play. Could easily see him having a good week. Adam Hadwin, I expect to make the cut. He's played really well since the 2021 New Year, I guess, if you will. Miscut the Makoba, and then 3 straight make cuts. Overall, he's not going to be a good stat rank play, though, because he was playing horribly before that. So he's kind of a guy that I see making the cut. Don't want to go crazy with it too much. Then after that, let's find some, quality plays down here low. Taylor Gooch, I like a lot. Coming off of a miscut, but before that, 48th and a 21st place finish, a 10th and a 20th for course history here. Top 38 stat rank play. I'm fine with that. Overall ranks out 15th in the model this week. Good for that price point range. And then Emiliano Grillo. So he did screw us at the Farmers, but he's been a quality play kind of since the 2021 New Year once again. Strong stat rank play, top 5 this week overall. 11th in ball striking, 4th in opportunities gained, 14th in birdie to bogey ratio, 8th in bogey avoidance, and 34th in strokes gained differential. Driving distance, not that bad as well. 86th. He did miss the cut here last year, but once again, now he has another starter on his belt, so I don't really worry about that too much. Wyndham Clarkson, interesting name. 3 straight T36 or better finishes. In his first start here, he had a 17th place finish. Not going to be the best stat rank play, but 4th in driving distance, and he hasn't been making many birdies or many bogeys. He has a strong birdie to bogey ratio and bogey avoidance at 30 in both of those. So honestly, if he goes out and kind of puts it all together, I could see that. Kyle Stanley and Matt Jones, I both expect to make the cut once again this week. They've been in great recent form. Both pretty decent stat plays this week as a whole. So yeah, I'm good with those guys. Now we get into the value tier. The value tier is going to be interesting as a whole. We'll just put it that way here. All right, there we go. So now we got it sorted there. So I don't think there was anyone like too crazy. So we got Doug Gim, Jim Furyk, Stuart Sink, Matthew Naismith, all kind of strong likelihoods to make the cut. Obviously, that kind of shows that they're a little bit mispriced. So we'll start off here actually with Matthew Naismith, who really almost missed the cut there and came up clutch for us. So once again, he's been a strong stat rank play really this whole year. It's nice to see him kind of putting it together, showing that those stats are actually going somewhere. So recent form-wise, missed cut at the Amex, and then stellar since then. 48th at the Farmers, 7th at the Waste Management Phoenix Open, and then 16th at Pebble Beach. Once again, he started off cold. He started off with 3 bogeys, so maybe just wasn't like mentally ready to go, but once he settled in, obviously played great golf. Top 13 stat fit this week. He's getting knocked because of driving distance, where he ranks 106. Other than that, though, first in opportunities gained, which if you watched last week, he was in feature coverage a little bit, you would see why. The guy was hitting fairways or getting close to the fairway, and then hitting greens or getting close to the green pretty much on every single shot. He was getting like 12 feet or so of putts here and there, 20 feet putts here and there, just a ton. Like opportunities gained, it makes a ton of sense. 8th in strokes gained approach, that makes sense. Overall, he just makes sense as a play, risky play here at this price point, but trending in the right direction, great stat fit. He's worth it in some GPPs there. Doug Gim as well. Great recent form, 21st, 7th, 5th, and 46th for his most recent starts on the tour. Ranks out top 30 this week in stat rank. Nothing really too bad. His lowest stat fit, other than driving distance, where he ranks 100th, is 59th in opportunities gained. So overall, not a bad play. Then we go a little bit lower here. Maybe Charles Howell could put it together. He's had 2 straight missed cuts in a row, but tremendous course history here. Michael Thompson, I could see making the cut here. He's at a missed cut here, and then a top 7 finish in 2019. It's kind of been his season as well. He's made 4 out of his last 5 starts. Cut wise, recent form wise, not going to be a strong stat fit, but I don't mind him as a play. And then we go a little bit lower. Let's see here. Jim Furyk was kind of popping, which was a little bit surprising, but he's been a strong play really this whole year. Not all too shocking, I guess, because top 29 in recent form, 64 first in course history. That could be a little bit better. He's made 2 cuts and missed 2 cuts, and then stat rank top 28, which he's getting hurt in driving distance, but he's been gaining a ton of opportunities. 5th in that, top 10 in birdie to bogey ratio, top 10 in bogey avoidance, and top 30 in strokes gained approach. So overall, I could easily see him making the cut. I don't expect too much from him, and that's probably why he hasn't had a huge finish. But given the way he's been playing, I could see him easily making the cut. Obviously at 6.4, that's all you want. In the value range as a whole, that's all you want in the value range. And Stuart Sink, kind of a disappointment last week. He just was. But he's pretty much Jim Furyk, but he's got longer off the tee and not as good as strokes gained approach. Overall, I don't mind him as a play. He could easily go on top 10 here. Wouldn't shock me at all. And 6.3, I think he's well worth the risk. Then let's see here. I kind of just want to sort real quick by kind of driving distance. I want to see which value plays down here in this price point range just are dominant in driving distance, and maybe let's see what else. Maybe ball striking. No, we'll just look at driving distance. So golfers down in this price point range that are top 70 or better on tour in driving distance. We'll sort it here. So we got Cameron Champ. 3 straight missed cuts here. Probably don't want to mess with him. Tyler McCumber, guy hits it a ton. Stuart Sink, once again, won't be surprised if he's a good play, but this is kind of why I wanted to do that, because I wasn't looking at Patrick Rodgers at all as a play. Patrick Rodgers has been in horrible recent form, but given his driving distance, he might be worth it. Maybe a little bit JB Holmes as well, potentially there. Let's pull up those 2. So Patrick Rodgers, we'll see him real quick. Then I'll pull up JB Holmes as well. So Patrick Rodgers, yeah. Course history-wise, he's just been, pretty stellar. 3 straight made cuts with the top 15 finish in there. His worst finish is 30th. Recent form-wise, horrible though. 17th at the Macoba, that's about it. That's all we got to hang our hat on. And the driving distance. So maybe you take the risk with him. I think that's why he's priced above some of those other guys, because he has that strong course history. And then JB Holmes as well. Let's pull him up. So a lot of people are expecting a bounce back from Holmes eventually. I'm not seeing it yet, but, you know, former winner, he could pull through and make the cut, which is really all you want from him. Obviously, we know he's kind of typically a world-class player. Could be worth the risk there. But that's all I have for you guys. If you want to join 9 to 5 Nation, links in the description. $10 a month, best value in PGA DFS. Everyone kind of already knows that. But if you guys don't want to, you know, just leave a like and subscribe. That does help the channel out a ton. Look for the Core Plays video tomorrow on Tuesday there. So thanks for watching, guys. And as always, let's keep cashing.